Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and we have another viewer request today, and it is for the 1969 film, The Cube. Here is your trivia question for today. Arnie, who appears to be a maintenance man for the Cubes, mentions that he recently got a surplus of what product? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So in this story, we start off right away meeting the man in the cube. Now, we don't know why he's in there, and we soon find out that he has no idea as well. Now, could it be due to something with the afterlife? Is he part of some sort of science experiment? Has he completely gone crazy? Or is this all just a television prank? Now, even though this man does not seem to have any ability of getting out, other people seem to be able to get in, including people claiming to be his family, managers, maintenance men, monks, partygoers, and all sorts of other random people. And even though he can speak to all of these people, none of them seem to be able to give him an actual answer of where he is and how he can get out. So, will the man ever figure out a way out of the cube? And even if he does, once he realizes what the answer is, will he actually want to leave? This movie was produced, directed, and co written by Jim Henson. That's right, the same guy who created The Muppets. It was also co written by Jerry Jewell, who even makes a small cameo as one of the partygoers. Jim Henson, by the way, also does the voices of the gorillas in the tutus. Now, this film was actually an episode in an anthology television series called NBC Experiment in Television. It was on for 5 seasons, and this particular episode was in season 3. There is a short story by Thomas M. Dish that is called The Squirrel Cage. This actually is very similar to the story in this film, but even though the story came out 2 years before the film, they're actually not related at all. The main character of the man in the cube is played by Richard Shaw. Shaw, by the way, was primarily a television actor who appeared in quite a few shows as smaller roles that you probably do recognize. What's interesting is quite a few of these particular television series are actually connected and spin offs from each other. Valerie Harper, who played Rhoda in a few of these, was actually married to Shaw for a few years. Jerry Nelson played the character of the monk. He also was a Muppeteer. When the man in the cube watches the ending on the TV, the program is said to be directed by Joe Rapiso, who in real life was a frequent collaborator of Henson's. The movie was filmed in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. In 2007, a German theater troupe called Glass Booth did a live stage production of The Cube, which was called Cubus. In 2012, a graphic novel called Tale of Sand was finally released. This was actually a screenplay that Jim Henson and Jerry Jewell had worked on. Some of the set pieces and gags that appear in The Cube are actually in this story. Now, what's interesting though is The Tale of Sand was created before The Cube was. Now, it hasn't been confirmed, but it is highly believed that the movie Cube and its sequels and remake are all inspired by this movie. Now, there's also the game show The Cube, which is also believed to be inspired by this film, and of course, they even eventually made an American version of that game show as well. So, when it comes to the film The Cube, this was interesting. There are moments where it is a little slow, but I would say the majority of the film, it keeps you thinking and actually does keep you interested the majority of the time. So I'm going to give this film a 3 out of 5. Now, if you did enjoy the film, other movies I recommend checking out are Cube and its sequels and remake, Symbol, The Platform, and Circle. Now it's time for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. Arnie, who appears to be a maintenance man for the Cubes, mentions that he recently got a surplus of what product? So Arnie mentions that he has worked in the cubes for 14 years and no one has ever asked for even one of these. And what he ends up getting is 4 tons of chocolate rabbits. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.